Breaking news out of the NFL this afternoon. The Kansas City Chiefs have acquired left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. from the Baltimore Ravens for a bevy of picks. Baltimore will receive a 2021 first-round pick, third-round pick, and fourth-round pick, along with a 2022 fifth-round pick in exchange for Brown. Now, the Chiefs will receive the two-time Pro Bowler, along with a 2021 second-round pick and a 2022 sixth-round pick. After cutting offensive tackles Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, the Chiefs have bolstered their offensive line with the signings of guards Joe Thuney and Kyle Long, in addition to newly acquired tackle Orlando Brown Jr. Brown in the final year of his rookie contract and will be a free agent this upcoming offseason, barring an extension. As you see the trade details there, a lot of draft picks changing hands, so it's good to see it in graphic format as the Chiefs receive some added protection for Patrick Mahomes. And for more on this, let's now bring in CBS Sports NFL analyst Ryan Wilson. Ryan, I'll start by getting your reaction here to Orlando Brown headed to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like it for both sides. The Ravens and Orlando Brown seem to be on different pages in terms of compensation going forward. And instead of the stalemate, they decided to move on. And not only did they move on, they got a first-round pick for him. Now, we saw the picks, that the subsequent picks that followed that sort of even out this trade. But I think if you're Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and having watched what happened in the Super Bowl where they were down both their offensive tackles, this was priority number one. There wasn't going to be an offensive tackle at the bottom of the first round. Obviously, that Kansas City thought would be able to come in right away and contribute in the way that Orlando Brown can. That's why they made the move. When you have a franchise quarterback that must be protected at all costs, this is not too big a price to pay if you're all in on Orlando Brown, and it certainly seems to be the case for the Chiefs there. For the Ravens, like I said, they moved on from a guy that didn't seem like he wanted to be there long term based on the compensation conversations they had, and now they can use those extra draft picks to address a whole bunch of other needs, which now includes, by the way, Jeremy, finding some offensive line help.
Yeah, and when you look at the draft picks kind of changing hands, I'm always curious as to how the draft picks kind of get weighted between teams, obviously based on position and everything else in terms of where it falls in the draft. When you look at this deal, is it a fair price, both teams getting kind of, fair deals here for what's being exchanged?
Yeah, no, I think so, for certain. So the Ravens already had the 27th pick, and now they have the 31st pick. And you could do the math and say, oh, maybe they're going to package those picks to move up in the first round for a legit wide receiver. Could they get high enough to get one of the top three wide receivers, perhaps Devontae Smith? That will be interesting. Could they move up high enough to get maybe an offensive lineman they covet, someone like Rashawn Slater, Elijah Vera Tucker, or Christian Darrisaw? That will now be in the conversation. So they have the ammunition to move up and down, which they have done historically with both Eric DeCosta and before that Ozzie Newsome. So they're in a great position, and they knew that at the end of the day, Orlando Brown was not long for Baltimore. For the Chiefs, I felt, like I just said, they didn't think there was anyone there at the bottom of the round one that could fill the needs they needed immediately on the outside of the offensive line, and they know Orlando Brown is a proven commodity, and they went out and got him. I would imagine Patrick Mahomes is extremely happy. The issue is that Orlando Brown's going to want a new contract. The Chiefs going to have to do some calculus there in terms of the salary cap and making that work. But for right now, as we sit here and look at it moments after the trade has happened, I think it's a good job by both sides in getting what they wanted.
What does this tell you about the Chiefs' draft plans in terms of what you've seen exchanged here?
Well, they've always been at the bottom of the first round in these millions of mock drafts I've done. I've had them targeting either offensive lineman, should one be there, edge rusher, they need help at edge. Even linebacker has been in the conversation. So you can take offensive tackle off the board. They can still target an interior offensive lineman if they want. But again, you still need to get better on defense. The edge rush was virtually non-existent down the stretch. They need help at linebacker and more depth at cornerback. So those are still directions they can go. They do still have draft picks to work with, and the biggest need, you could argue, is offensive lineman, offensive tackle in particular. That's one less thing they have to worry about. But they'll address the defensive side of the ball as they move through this draft process, and we'll see what they look like coming out. We do know on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to have Patrick Mahomes, and now they have one more offensive tackle to help keep him upright in the 2021 season.
Chiefs obviously one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl coming into 2021, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are, of course, the holders. Tampa Bay has done a lot of stuff in terms of keeping the band together. What does the addition of Brown do for the Chiefs in terms of their prospects and being a favorite to win the Super Bowl for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting, Jeremy, that the Ravens, who are often considered the second or third best team in the conference, would do a trade with the Chiefs. As you know, the best team in the conference, maybe the best team in the NFL by the time we finish a year from now. So that's the interesting part. But I think that Andy Reid understood, and Brett Veach, the GM, understood that you can't have happen to Patrick Mahomes what we saw unfold in the Super Bowl. That's unacceptable. He can't take those hits. He can't be in a position to get hurt. He was playing on an injured toe coming into the Super Bowl. He's had surgery on that toe subsequently, and he's apparently recovering from that. But at the end of the day, you have to keep your quarterback upright, and that starts with obviously Pro Bowl level offensive tackles. Orlando Brown fits that bill. So they're a better football team right now than they were 45 minutes ago. Now the question becomes, how much better can they get on defense going forward? How can they fill those interior line holes going forward as they try to get back to the Super Bowl once again?
NFL analyst Ryan Wilson joining us here on CBS Sports HQ, breaking down the breaking news. The Kansas City Chiefs bolstering their offensive line. Good stuff, Ryan. Thanks for hopping on with us to discuss this trade for the Chiefs. Here are the odds for the 2021 Super Bowl. As we mentioned, how things may change with the Chiefs acquiring Orlando Brown, the left tackle, plus 500 coming into the Super Bowl season, or the 2021 season, pardon me. The Buccaneers, the defending champions, at plus 750. Then it's the Green Bay Packers at plus 1,000.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.